So it's unfortunate that your fuel pump goes out, right? Because it's an expensive repair. Now, me as a mechanic, yeah, I can buy the part, I install it in my car, and then I don't have to pay for labor. But other people, they have to spend money to get it done, right? My customer got his truck towed over to my shop. It wouldn't start. I checked fuel pump relay, I checked, you know, all fuses in general, fuel pressure, blah, blah, blah. I checked power at the connector, and I determined that the fuel pump was bad. The tank was reading, the level gauge was reading slightly under a quarter of a tank. I mean, that's enough fuel for these things to work, right? So I dropped the tank, replaced it with a new fuel pump. I unboxed it myself. I installed it, put the tank back under the car, hooked everything back up, and then I turned the key, cycled the key like 3 times. Obviously, the fuel line and the injector rails are empty. So I cycled the key 3 times, and it started, right? As expected. But the fuel gauge was reading empty. It was below the E mark. And I was like, well, maybe the sending unit or the fuel level sensor, which is, I guess, the sending unit, was bad on the old pump, and instead of it having a quarter of a tank, it actually was reading empty. So I drove the car, test drove the car, and I went to the gas station, put about $20 in gas, which gave me slightly above 5 gallons. The needle didn't move at all, and I was a bit disappointed in that. I almost had my customer take the vehicle and have him fill up his tank, but I decided to check and get under the car again. I unplugged this connector, which is right above the fuel tank. It's not easy to get to, but it's doable. You can squeeze your hand through the frame under the bed of the truck and pull on the little connector here, and there's enough wire that you can pull it out and just hook up the old pump. And I hooked up the old pump, started moving the float, and the gauge in there was moving. But let me back up a little bit. Let me rewind a little bit. Before I did that, obviously the vehicle started. It ran, which it didn't with the old pump because the fuel pump itself was out. I had it running for like 5 minutes. Check engine light was on. Hooked it up, scanned it. I got a couple codes for lean condition, bank 1 and bank 2, meaning it was starving for fuel, which it makes sense. If the pump wasn't working, yeah, the car starved. You know, it didn't get enough fuel. So, oh, and they had a code for a fuel level sensor, PO63, I think, if I remember correctly. I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear the codes, turn the car off, turn it back on, and the check engine light came back on right away, quickly. And I scanned it, and it said fuel level sensor. So I went ahead and unplugged this one, plugged this one back in, turned the key on, and yeah, I started moving the float, and the needle would move, held it halfway, and it was showing about half a tank. So I was like, just to check, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the tank and inspect this pump. So I did it, pulled the pump back out, and I started moving this, and there's a little bit of a restriction there, right there. You can hear it clicking. It's pretty obvious. This sending unit and this pump, defective. The pump works just fine. The sending unit, defective. Bad, out of the box. So I called the parts store and they're like, no worries, man, we'll take care of you. We'll send you a new one. Easy for them to say, right? I already dropped the tank again. And I have a vehicle here in the shop that's just basically utilizing space and slowing down my workflow. But, oh well, keep my cool, right? Just chill out. So I got a new one. And of course, it's Roswell, New Mexico. We live in a small town. Just about anything as far as cars, you have to order. And if you're lucky, you get it the next day. If not, you have to wait 2 days, 3 days, or a week. Depends. Especially lately, the delivery of parts have been, everything's just delayed. Yeah, I got this new pump to replace the other one, and I didn't even install it. As you can see, the float here still has the wrap and the plastic. So this time, obviously, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna put the pump in the tank and then, you know, put it all back together to just find out that it's not working. So I plugged that in. I know some will say, dude, you're not supposed to do that. You're running the pump dry for a few seconds. Yeah, I didn't care. I was gonna try it anyways. So I plugged it in, and turned the key in the cab, and I was gonna start moving this. Well, I started moving this. So it moves a little bit, but you feel that? I mean, can you see that? Like, it's just, there's just a restriction there. It's not moving. It's like, it's just not moving. That's too close, but I don't know if it'll focus. It's hard to get it here on the video, but there is a restriction right there where the where it makes contact. It's supposed to be smooth all across, but there is a part. Oh man, it's not, the GoPro's not gonna focus that close. And it's not the first time I get a defective part. So there's a way of testing the level, the sending unit part, by measuring resistance, and there's a specific whatever number. I'm not gonna get technical because I'm not even that nerdy when it comes to electronics, electrical, whatever. But clearly here, look, you get a reading, right? You check this one, and there's nothing. Watch, okay. Clearly on the old pump, in the old pump you get a reading. You move it all the way up. You hear that? And this one, This is a new one. I didn't even attempt to install this one. I went ahead and checked it beforehand, and obviously it doesn't go all the way up, but it's not reading anything. It's just nothing. And the first one, this one, also nothing. All the way up. So there's a spot where it kind of gets a reading. Right there. But not really. Look. Right here, you get something right there. Somewhere halfway in there. But nothing there. Nothing. Anyway, I figured I'd share this with you guys. Maybe it'll help some of you.